man, I'm Kevin Smith. Now, on with the show.
The fact that I get to watch Clerks, Mallrats, and Chasing Amy for a college honors class is probably by far the coolest thing that I've done in college so far. According to IMDb, Kevin Smith was born in Red Bank, but grew up in the Highlands of New Jersey. His first movie, a sleeper hit called Clerks, was released in 1994 and took the Sundance Movie Festival, or the Sundance Film Festival, by storm. It went on to win coveted awards across the board and is today a cult classic. Kevin Smith is best known for his movies involving Jay and Silent Bob. They made their first debut in Clerks. I think it's inspiring that Kevin Smith actually sold off his comic book collection to fund Clerks, his first movie. He was able to complete Clerks for a budget that was basically non-existent, for $27,000. And of course, he has since gotten his investment back, as he is a cult classic legend. Because of his low budget, especially in his earlier films, Smith really takes advantage of the space that he's given. There are even some scenes in Clerks, especially with Jason Mewes, where he sets up the camera and walks away. So there are scenes in Clerks and Chasing Amy where literally the outside world doesn't exist. Smith takes all of the camera crew and sound crew and anybody working on the film out of the room and sets up a camera and records Jason Mewes' lines, because he had such a huge phobia of acting in front of people. As in all black and white movies, you have to use juxtaposition of lighting into the darks in order to draw the eye to where you want it to go. You also can use subsidiary contrasts and arrange counterbalance. But what he does, especially in his early movies, is control where he wants people's eyes to look. And he does this because of his low budgets. In his later films, his big budget films, he looks like any other director. But in his early stuff, you can see the dark and the gritty and the cuts that he uses in order to draw your eye in. Smith's movies have won awards across all genres, such as Chasing Amy, Mallrats, and Jersey Girl. Clerks is best known for its gritty take on 90s culture. Smith literally took his equipment and filmed at night in the convenience store that he worked in. There is very little camera work to speak of in Clerks, because he simply didn't have the budget for it. As you can see here, the camera is usually stationary. You have anywhere from mid to long shots. Here is the beginning of Clerks right here. This is Dante. He goes on to star in some of the other movies, especially Clerks 2. Smith is a personal inspiration of mine because he took his passion and made a career out of it, and that's really what I'm doing. Chasing Amy is one of his classics. And again, it is indicative of 90s fart and joke culture. You also can't take Kevin Smith's movies at face value, because if you take today's standards, Chasing Amy could appear to be homophobic and inflammatory, but Kevin Smith has always been an advocate of the LGBTQ community, even before the LGBTQ community officially existed in its modern form.
One time my cousin Walter got this cat.
Dogma was not the last time that Smith took on sects of Christianity. In 2011, Smith took on the then notorious Westboro Baptist Church, who was protesting at the 2011 Film Dance Festival and its acceptance of homosexuality within the movie industry. And rape allegations that kicked off the Me Too movement. So, as revenge, Weinstein has not allowed the movie to be available anywhere online. Clerks 2 obviously met with success, winning multiple awards, including the Audience Award Choice in 2007. It had a significantly larger budget than Clerks 1, and while it was still gritty and perverted, it was a much better quality flick. He does seem to like the weird. Tusk was one of those weird movies. Red State, however, is by far one of my most favorite movies I've ever watched. I've watched it repeatedly. It has won Best Film in 2011. And I won't spoil the plot, but it is one of his lesser-known, well-made movies. He's also directed several episodes of the critically acclaimed Big Bang Theory, and he has his own cable TV show called Comic Book Men, where he and his friends run a comic book store, and it's been successful because it follows the Grateful Dead on TV. But then there's some that didn't go over so well. Daredevil is arguably the worst superhero movie ever made. Cop Out was his attempt at a buddy cop comedy and absolutely failed. And Yoga Hosers was horrible, but what most people never intended to make a good movie. He just went out and had fun with the two stars of the show, and that was his daughter and her best friend. So he went and made a fun movie with his child, and it was never meant to win awards or turn heads. He just went out and had some fun, and that is admirable in my book. And then it almost all came crashing down. After years of obesity, smoking, and generally bad health,
Hey man, I'm Kevin Smith, and moments after we shot the show you're about to watch, I came into this room downstairs at the theater in Glendale and had a massive heart attack. They talk about, like, I killed on stage, and I died on stage. I thought I killed that night, and then I came backstage and almost died. So enjoy the special, but know that the guy who is telling jokes for the next hour and stuff is about to face the infinite. I'm alive to stand here and tell you that I didn't die. Now, on with the show.
On February 25th, 2018, after performing this show in Glendale, California, Smith suffered a massive heart attack. When he got to the hospital, he learned that there was a 100% blockage in his heart and was not expected to survive. I think it's worth noting that when he had his heart attack, he was thinking about the film Yoga Hosers that he was going to film with his child.